afternoon, lads and lasses. Go fill up your cup of tea and get comfortable and ready to learn about the Monroe Doctrine. So, what is the Monroe Doctrine exactly? Well, it's a piece of paper made out of trees with some ink scattered on it. Also, it had an overwhelming influence on the history of America. Why does it do this? Well, that is because it said that America opposed the further colonization of the Americas by European powers. It was delivered as a kind of an Easter egg in President Monroe's annual message to Congress. That's all I know. I wonder why it got written.
Why?
Russia at that point was like a washed up rock star who was essentially irrelevant, but still tried to be cool and gain popularity. In 1821, they tried to claim all the Pacific Islands for Russia so they could have colonies like that, like the cool kids. Of course, John Quincy Adams was like, screw off, because that was back when America's presidents were too tough to tell Russia. In 1923, the United States had another dispute with Russia. It was like two kids that didn't like each other fighting over toys and like areas of their sandbox. Because, I want this side. But, yeah, and it was like them fighting at each other's houses. So Russia goes, mine. And America goes, no, it's mine. And Russia goes, no, mine. And America's like, I don't like playing with you. Go back to your house. But except the toys, it was Alaska. And instead of houses, it was hemispheres.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Sam. And thank you, Eli, for providing the current information I know. So right now, all we know is that everything's Russia's fault. John Quincy Adams is tough. Than someone we know. And the Monroe Doctrine was cool. But we don't know how it was formed. Oh, also, I have some tea. I took Sam's advice. It's amazing. I got this really nice tea. Margaret's soother to me, in fact. It has everything we need. Texture, flavor, and a calming effect. I really enjoy it. Also, Cole will love this cup. Well, anyways, I dropped my script, but it is okay. I'm also kind of worried about the fact that it's next to my Xbox, but whatever. The point is, the President Monroe decided that enough was enough. He wasn't going to deal with Russia's crap anymore. And actually, in this case, Europe's crap, to be in fact. And foreign European powers weren't allowed to colonize the Americas anymore. Not that America had the military strength or authority to do anything like that at the time, but they did it anyway, because America, like, how does it not make sense to you? Monroe was remembered as the last of the revolutionary generation in terms of presidents, but also as the writer of the Monroe Doctrine. This is because the profound impact of the ideas and the words that were written in the Monroe Doctrine had on the world we live in today. Of course, it only started to be known as the Monroe Doctrine in 1852. Well after Monroe had died, I think. For an example of its impact on the United States, in 1842, America said that Texas was independent, which they had known for a long time. And because I assume that they wanted to have beef with Mexico, they invaded Texas. This was after denying Texas statehood in 1836, when it first broke away from Mexico. The president at the time, John Tyler, used the Monroe Doctrine as a reasoning behind his invasion of Texas. but we all know it has something to do with steaks or oil, or oily steaks. I don't really know what he was thinking at that point, because the Monroe Doctrine was protection against European colonization of the New World, or the Western Hemisphere, but Texas was an independent nation.
So I am confusion.
Who will ever know, but that's what happened, and the point is the Monroe Doctrine was involved. It influenced something. It may not have made sense, but it influenced something. And that is an important part of history because it led to further war with Mexico and the rest of the Southwest states forming in America, which I don't think America would be America without California. Or, in fact, Las Vegas. More so California. Also, the Monroe Doctrine influenced Woodrow Wilson and his... Anyways, when Woodrow Wilson essentially invaded Latin American countries, hung out for a little bit, put a dictator in charge because they were not smart enough or civilized enough for democracy, and yeah, this became a habit in American government to just hang out, then leave and install a dictator, because you couldn't do colonization, and you couldn't just leave the place after you invaded it, could you? So this new type of colonization, imperialism, Woodrowism, whatever you call it, that we've seen a lot since World War I, and especially since World War II, was heavily influenced by the Monroe Doctrine, as well as Wilson's weird worldview, but that's a story for another day, yeah. FYI, Woodrow Wilson was a weird guy and a terrible president. Not because he was, okay, whatever. I needed to leave Woodrow Wilson alone right now. But fast forward to 1962, and Russia is getting feisty again. They're tired of the Americans having NATO, and freedom, and the pursuit of happiness, and surrounding them with potential nukes. At the time, the Soviet Union's intercontinental missiles were horrendous. They were garbo. Like, they were really bad. They could explode when you were filling them up with fuel. And they needed a solution to make sure that the Cold War remained two-sided and that people could rest easy, knowing that they were safe at night. But of course,
Today, Junior?
How the world works. They had to make it more complicated, didn't they? They said that there was a communist nation with an insane leader 100 miles from Florida, the United States, within striking distance of most everybody in the United States, besides California. But California, as I said before, is a great place, and it should not be bombed by even the communists. Anyways, the plan was to sneak the missiles in at night and only unveil them once they were fully functional and ready to bomb places. That way they could use them as bargaining chip with the US in order to get the missiles in Turkey to go away, or to use them to kill millions of people because they like to vote for their leaders and they like to be controlled by corporations instead of the state. Well, that's the Monroe Doctrine for you. Well, the things that it caused the United States to double in size. It caused the world to be the closest to midnight ever. Just like this video has made me do. But anyways, it and the ideals that it sparked influenced America in a great way for the good or for bad. But it significantly changed the way that we view the world and the world that we live in today. And that attitude towards foreign diplomacy and intervention could possibly be one of the most American things ever. Thank you, James Monroe. I think his name was James Monroe. I don't know. But the point is that I could explain this a lot more, and there's a lot more stories about this, but the two biggest ones were the invasion of Texas, because it was the first one where the Monroe Doctrine was used and cited as a reasoning. Even though it was kind of nutty, but that's the point of it. And the Cuban Missile Crisis, which possibly was the closest the world has ever come to ending. The closest that us as a human race and us as in this class came to ceasing to exist, and not being here today to discuss the Monroe Doctrine, the Cuban Missile Crisis.